Mary Poppins movie summary in English. Let's begin. In the spring of 1910, Winifred Banks returns to her home in London after a suffragette rally, Sister Suffragette, and learns that her children's babysitter, Katie Nana, has quit after the children, Jane and Michael, ran away for the fourth time this week. Winifred's strict, ambitious husband, George, returns home from his job at the bank, the life I lead. Constable Jones brings the children home and reveals they were chasing after a lost kite. The children ask George to help them make a better kite, but he dismisses them. George puts an advertisement in the newspaper for a stern, no-nonsense nanny. In contrast, Jane and Michael present their own advertisement for a kind, sympathetic nanny, the perfect nanny. Winifred strongly agrees with the children. However, George rips up the letter and throws the scraps in the fireplace, but a strong wind draws the scraps up through the chimney and into the sky. The next day, multiple sour-faced nannies wait outside the Banks family's home, but a strong gust of wind blows them away. Jane and Michael then witness a young woman using an umbrella as a parachute to gracefully descend from the sky. The woman goes to the Banks family's home and introduces herself as Mary Poppins. To George's shock, Mary is holding the children's advertisement, and the scraps have been put back together. Mary agrees with the advertisement's requests, but promises George that she will be firm with his children. Mary hires herself and convinces George it was originally his idea. Mary helps the children magically tidy their nursery, a spoonful of sugar. While walking outside, the trio encounters Mary's friend Bert, a jack-of-all-trades working as a street painter. Mary transports the group into one of Bert's drawings. While the children ride on a carousel, Mary and Bert sing while strolling, "Jolly Holiday," and Bert flirts with Mary. Mary then enchants the carousel horses to move on their own. Bert rescues a fox from a fox hunt. Bert and Mary take part in a horse race, which Mary wins. Describing her victory, Mary uses a nonsense word, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. When a thunderstorm dissolves Bert's drawings, the group is returned to London. While putting the children to bed, the next day, the trio and Bert meet Mary's odd uncle Albert, whose uncontrollable laughter has caused him to float. I love to laugh. When Albert and Bert begin discussing a sad topic, Mary leaves with Jane and Michael. George becomes annoyed by the household's cheery atmosphere and threatens to fire Mary. She persuades him to take the children to his workplace. That evening, Mary sings a lullaby, 11, about a woman who sells bird food on the steps of the St. Paul's Cathedral, Feed the Birds. The next day at the bank, the children meet George's boss, the elderly Mr. Dawes Sr., who advises Michael to invest his tuppence in the bank, ultimately snatching his coin out of Michael's hand, Fidelity Fiduciary Bank. Michael demands it back, other customers overhear the conflict, and they all begin demanding their own money back, causing a bank run. Jane and Michael flee the bank and get lost in the East End of London. Bert, now working as a chimney sweep, escorts them home, chim chim sherry. The three and Mary venture onto the rooftops, where they dance with other chimney sweeps, step in time. George and Winifred return home to find Bert's friends dancing in their home. George sends them away. George then receives a phone call from the bank, requesting a meeting with him regarding Michael's actions. The children overhear the phone call and become concerned. Bert takes George to task for his neglect of his children, warning him to spend more time with Jane and Michael before they grow up. A man has dreams. Michael gives George the tuppence, hoping to make amends. Besieged with regret, George slowly walks through London to the bank, where he is given a humiliating cashiering. Lost for words, he exclaims supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, tells a joke Uncle Albert had told the children, and happily heads home. When Mr. Dawes Sr. understands the joke, he floats up into the air, laughing. The next day, Mary Poppins tells the children she must leave. George mends his children's kite and takes the family out to fly it. At the park, the family encounters Mr. Dawes Sr.'s son, Mr. Dawes Jr., who reveals that his father died laughing at the joke, "Let's go fly a kite." Mr. Dawes Jr. says his father had never been happier and gratefully re-employs George as a junior partner. Mary watches the family and decides her work is done. As Mary flies away, Bert looks up and says, "Goodbye, Mary Poppins." Don't